So Altium Develop is an expansion of our ecosystem. A few years ago, Altium, most people thought of it as just designing an electrical schematic and then turning that into a printed circuit board and then building that board and seeing if it worked. There's a much larger product design ecosystem around that, and this is really the purpose of Altium Develop, is to think a little bit bigger in that process and think about trying to capture all of these things in one platform. Every single project in the engineering world starts with system requirements, and that's basically when we get a bunch of engineers in a room and we ask ourselves, what are we building? What does it have to do? Why are we making it? And we start looking at how, things like what chips are we going to use? What are the power requirements of these chips? What kind of environment are these things going into? And so one of the first things in the Altium Develop journey is something called the requirements portal. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what that looks like. The requirements portal is accessed through Altium 365. And if you come up here to the top right, you can just select the requirements portal. And this is really where all of your designs are going to start. Or if they don't, you should really start with requirements, because it's one of the most important things about designing a system. In this case, we're actually looking at a set of system requirements for a drone. And if you download Altium Designer with the sample data, you'll actually have access to this very same project and these same requirements as well. And so usually we're building something for a customer. And so we have a couple different categories for what kinds of requirements these are. So over here we have our customer requirements. And these are things that the customer has stated, hey, these are important to us. We want to make sure that ultimately what you're building meets these system requirements. And then us, as the company actually designing and engineering this thing, we have our own internal requirements. And so we list all of these out. And you can make this as simple or as complicated as you'd like. For example, we have subsystem requirements, electronic requirements, and so on and so on. What's awesome about the system requirements is that we establish them at the beginning of the project. So we have a really clear bullseye of ultimately what we're building. And then these are traceable throughout the rest of the project. So for example, if we set a system requirement that we're going to use a chip that can accept anywhere from 6 to 12 volts or something like that, we can actually make that as a traceable requirement that we can go and verify at that point in the project where we actually have to prove that we've made good on that requirement. So this is not in a vacuum. These are actually requirements that are linkable to the design itself at later on in the design stage. And then after we establish the system requirements, we would select our chips, our connectors, our board material and things like that. And we would physically design the printed circuit board. And I'm not going to talk too much about that right now because that's the Altium that we already know. So there's a few other cool things with the Altium Develop platform. One of them specifically useful for the procurement team, and that's going to be called the BOM portal. And ordering parts for a printed circuit board used to be really, really difficult. It was usually done in like an Excel sheet or something like that. And you never really knew what parts were out of stock, how much things cost, who you had to buy this part from or that part from. Those days are gone, and everything now is consolidated in the BOM portal application. So just like requirements portal, BOM portal is accessed from your Develop platform in the top right, BOM portal. And from any of our projects, we can just create a managed BOM from the project. We can just give it a name here and create it. And what this is going to do is it's going to look at every single part we have in that project. It's going to itemize it. It's going to let us know who we're buying it from, how many they have in stock, what their price is, what their price breaks are, what the cost for the board is. And as you can see, it's let us know that a BOM has been created, and it's generating a preview here. That'll take just a second. I've actually already done this a minute ago, and so we can take a look at what this looks like. So I'm going to open up a managed BOM for this project, just to give you an idea of what this looks like. So we have a thumbnail of a part preview. We have our manufacturer part number, the name of the part, description, designator. All of these fields are customizable based on what's important for you to visualize at this point. And you can click this filter icon here, and for example, I don't necessarily care about the line number, so I can turn that off. But I do care about, let's see, median price. Let's say that was important to me. I can enable this, and now I have median price is visible on my bill of materials. I can also click issues here in the top left, and this is going to identify everything that could potentially come back to bite me in terms of a part being out of stock, or maybe there's a part that's missing a footprint, something that's going end of life. It could be a lot of things. These are all going to be places where I'd want to investigate early on in the process and just make sure that everything checks out. And then of course we can export this as an Excel sheet and then upload it into a DigiKey or a Mauser or a Newark and automatically purchase all of these parts. The main purpose of the Altium Develop platform, it's based on the idea that small teams do it better. And I've worked for big organizations, small organizations. There's always something special about like engineering teams of 5 or less. When you get 5 motivated people in a room and you give them a task, they can do amazing things. And as the team gets a little bigger, there's more like administration involved and things like that. Small teams are very, very special in the engineering world because of how quickly they can work together and what a small number of motivated people can do with a common goal. But that's kind of the vision with Develop, is to give those teams a really powerful tool and a weapon to go build a prototype or something in their garage or start a company. And so the beauty of it is that it's really easy to adopt, deploy, and use. And the whole purpose is easy, fast collaboration. So I want to make sure, if I'm a small team and I have an electrical engineer, I have a project manager, I have a mechanical engineer, I have a simulation person, and I have somebody that has to buy all of the stuff at the very end, I want to make sure that all of those roles are constantly in sync and that they can communicate just very efficiently with each other. And so the Altium Develop platform brings them all together under one umbrella. So we have our BOM portal for the procurement person. We have our design portal for the electronics engineer that's also doing layout. We have a really nice mechanical MCAD co-designer that lets the PCB designer very seamlessly communicate what's going on with the design physically with the mechanical team so that it never falls out of sync. And the whole purpose is to give the small team a super weapon for them to go and develop these things very fast and very seamlessly without the larger bureaucracy of some of the heavier things that a lot of software in this industry has. So that's basically the purpose and the reasoning for Develop. It's extremely easy to adopt and it's fast to deploy. So the price point has been dropped significantly because we want to see more small engineering teams use it. And it's very easy to set up. You can get a free trial for it for 30 days. Just go on altium.com/develop. You can download it. If it's a great fit for your team, the purchasing process has been expedited, so you can just put a card in there. And so it's really easy to try and then to just adopt for your team. So it's not clunky, it's not heavy, it's very easy to pick up and start running with it. The minimum price for getting up and running with Develop is $2,000. So $1,000 of that is for your Develop platform workspace, and the other $1,000 of that is for your first seat. Now you can get up to 5 seats, and each additional seat is going to be $1,000. So for an example, 3 users would be $3,000 for the seats plus $1,000 for your workspace. I use Altium Develop personally. I'm also an active electrical engineer. I do PCB design. I'm a hobbyist and maker. Altium Develop is extremely important, especially in today's day and age, because everything is about speed. When you have an idea, it's so important to be able to get that to prototype, to show the market, for your website, for content, to show investors. And Altium Develop is really designed to take you from an idea phase all the way up to a small production run or a prototype as quickly as possible. It's the most important thing. After you get to that point and you become more successful and the team grows, we also have other products that can grow with you. But in terms of getting up and running, speed and efficiency are the most critical things. And that is the main purpose of the Develop platform, is to allow you to do that.